Dear Diary, today I fell down another rabbit hole. I told myself I'd just read a few articles, but here I am, hours later, chasing names I shouldn't know and piecing together details no one's supposed to remember. I'm Neeli Faulkner, and this is Dead Diary, a true crime journal for the obsessed, the curious, and the ones who always dig a little deeper. So let's go ahead and turn the page, but don't say I didn't warn you. We're back with part 3 of the Karen Read retrial. If you haven't caught up yet, be sure to check out episodes 1 and 2 of this mini-series where we break down the first 2 weeks of trial testimony and all the major twists so far. This series builds fast and context matters. We're not even close to the finish line and things are already spinning. The deeper this case goes, the messier it gets. Resumes get picked apart, data shifts by the seconds, emotions boil over, and through it all, one man is still dead and one woman may lose her freedom. Week 3 of the Commonwealth v. Karen Read opened up with a sharp turn in tone. The courtroom wasn't just tense, it was heavy. Prosecutors leaned into a new narrative, pivoting hard from car crash theory to domestic violence homicide. But why the shift? Defense attorney Alan Jackson had asked Sergeant Yuri Buchanan to read text messages between Karen Read and ATF agent Brian Higgins. In them, Read said she was single, complained about O'Keefe's adopted children, and accused him of cheating while on vacation in Aruba. It was risky testimony for the defense, and the Commonwealth pounced on it. Prosecutor Hank Brennan argued that Read had a pattern of behavior: jealousy, control, and rage. And more importantly, that O'Keefe had tried to leave her and she wouldn't let him go. The court saw evidence the state claimed supported that narrative. Jurors heard that Read had accused O'Keefe of cheating in the past, and prosecutors alleged that her refusal to accept the end of the relationship might have motivated the crime. It was during this same window that O'Keefe's teenage niece took the stand. The media was barred from identifying her, but her testimony painted Read as cold, distant, and volatile. The defense didn't get much ground in cross-examining the teen, and it was clear the jury was paying very close attention. From there, the focus turned sharply back to the physical evidence. Investigators described dents and scratches on Read's Lexus. A strand of hair and broken glass were found on the back of the vehicle. Crime scene analysts walked the jury through the images of Read's car, snow-covered crime scenes, and John O'Keefe's clothing. Needham Police Sergeant Brian Gallerani testified that he collected DNA from 2 state troopers, Proctor and Buchanan, but not from any of the Canton officers who were first on the scene. That omission didn't go unnoticed. Dr. Irene Scorti-Bello testified in Week 3, noting that O'Keefe's cause of death was caused by blunt force trauma and hypothermia, but stopped short of calling his death a homicide. On cross, she admitted there were no injuries consistent with being struck by a vehicle, a potentially critical point for the defense. Still, prosecutors pressed on, bolstering their timeline with a digital forensics expert named Shannon Burgess from Aperture. His testimony was complicated and controversial. According to Burgess, a crucial SD card had been overlooked in Read's infotainment system. It recorded a 3-point turn and a backing maneuver around the time O'Keefe's phone was locked for the last time. In other words, Burgess claimed to have data showing that Read's SUV was in reverse between 12:32:04 and 12:32:12 a.m. O'Keefe's final phone activity was logged at 12:32:09 a.m. That overlap is the heart of the Commonwealth's case. Prosecutors argued it showed that Read could have struck O'Keefe in that moment. But the defense was ready to punch back. They shredded Burgess over his credentials. Turns out he doesn't hold a bachelor's degree listed on his resume. On the stand, he admitted it was a mistake and life got in the way. Still, the prosecution defended his methods and stood by his data. Let me pause for a second here. If you listened to episode 1, I misreported that forensic examiner Ian Whiffen was the witness whose credentials were questioned. That was incorrect. It was actually Shannon Burgess. I take pride in accurate reporting, and I want to apologize for that oversight. All right, back to the testimony. Burgess's testimony wasn't the only weapon the prosecution yielded this week, but also testimony by DNA analysts regarding hair and debris found on Read's vehicle. One strand couldn't definitively be linked to O'Keefe, but he also couldn't be excluded. Same goes for the taillight fragments. Trace analysts said plastic found in O'Keefe's clothing was consistent with Reed's Lexus RX 350. A neurosurgeon, Dr. Isaac Wolf, added another layer. He told the court that O'Keefe's head injury looked like the result of a backward fall, not an impact from a car. That detail could go either way. It may support the defense's theory of a fall in the snow, but also the prosecution's narrative that O'Keefe was pushed or struck in a heated moment. And just when you thought we'd seen the last of the Commonwealth's witnesses, they called one more heavy hitter, accident reconstructionist Judson Welcher. Welcher mapped Reed's movements using everything from dash cam footage to Ring doorbell videos to cell tower pings and vehicle telemetry. His key takeaway? Reed's Lexus reversed near 34 Fairview Road during the same minute O'Keefe's phone locked for the final time. He also claimed that around 5 a.m., Reed backed into O'Keefe's parked Chevy, but only going 1 mile per hour, not enough to cause visible damage. That impact, Welcher said, likely dislodged some snow but didn't result in a broken taillight or visible collision. Welcher even bought a matching Lexus to test out his theories in real-world conditions. He emphasized on the stand that he wasn't taking sides, just analyzing data, but it was clear the Commonwealth was betting big on his testimony. Over the course of 3 weeks, jurors have heard from 38 witnesses, experts, officers, analysts, and family members. The state has painted a picture of a relationship in decline, a chaotic night, and a timeline that, if you believe their version, lines up almost too perfectly. But soon it will be the defense's turn. Karen Reed says her case this time around will be more robust than last year. She told reporters she's anxious but ready, and most importantly, that the truth is on her side. So what happens next? We'll be here to break it all down. Make sure you're subscribed to Dead Diary so you don't miss the next episode. And if you found this breakdown helpful, consider sharing it with a friend or dropping a rating wherever you listen. It really helps. All right, y'all. I'll see you next week. Dead Diary is a production of Murder Creek Media. To explore more of our work, including our investigative true crime series and other stories that keep us up at night, visit murdercreekmedia.com. Remember, new episodes of Dead Diary drop every week, so make sure to follow or subscribe on any podcasting platform. We'll see y'all soon.